Your good friend Bob Schwartz, or the Bob Father, as he's known in the buddy games, told me to start the interview by asking you this, and your sister confirmed you had this ability, that you can fart on command.
We just did have it. There we go.
So that's a skill.
Everybody's got a skill.
And you've had that your whole life.
My whole life, yeah. Did you pick that up?
Oh yeah,
perfect, great. Way to start this interview. This is going to be fun.
Your sister also told me to bring up that one time she pissed you off and you pooped on her head.
Yeah, I did. We're starting with a fart joke and then a poop joke right off the bat.
What happened there?
Well, first of all, I was probably 4 or 5 years old.
Okay.
And I still remember it. She did something, I don't remember what she did, but I remember pooping on her head, like right on top of her head. And then I tried to convince her not to tell Mom. Like, Mom's not gonna know. I threatened her, you better not tell Mom. And I was like, what am I supposed to do? And she's 2 at the time. So yeah, another true story.
Your sister's one of the most important people in your life.
First of all, I have 3 sisters and I love them all dearly. We'll preface it with that.
And 2 half-sisters.
2 half-sisters, and Ashlee we have the same father and mother.
Mom had the youngest when she was 45.
Yes.
But it was really kind of you and Ashlee forever.
It was. I mean, that's the thing about siblings, is that, they're with you from the very beginning. Your kids come later, your spouse comes later, but your brothers and sisters, they're there the whole run. And she and I have been through a lot together, and she's an awesome woman. She's a ride or die for sure.
In what ways did you help raise her?
Well, I think we raised each other in a lot of ways. Mom and Dad got divorced when I was a 4th grader. They both struggled for quite a while, but then, are doing great now. But yeah, it was a rough several years after the divorce, and
your mom wasn't around much because she had 3 jobs.
Well, she had 3 jobs, yeah, and she was stressed out. We were broke. Dad was getting on his feet, and we just had each other. We really did. We were home alone a lot, and I think that that is part of the reason why we're so close, is that we really have gone through it all. So
and it all means what?
It just she's been there. She's seen me with all my heartbreak. She's seen me with, all the disappointments. And had a couple things in sports that happened that were really, really heartbreaking. Girls just struggling in California.
Brings a tear to your eye almost thinking about it.
Are you trying to make me cry right now?
No, but I can tell.
I'm
moves you.
It does move me because she's truly been there for me through thick and thin. And no matter what, no matter how many times I'd screw up, she was always there. So yeah, she's fantastic.
The divorce you mentioned, you said it was a bad divorce. In what ways?
It was pretty contentious. They still don't talk.
They can't be in a room together to this day, right?
They can be. They've gotten to the point where they can be, but they're just not friendly, and it's just sort of like one's on the other side of the room. And we're always like, come on, you guys already,
Right.
I think what kind of started setting the whole thing off, we got in a really bad car accident when I was a 4th grader. And
what happened?
We were just driving down this road on the way from we lived out of town, out of mine, at about 5 miles, and we had to drive. We were driving into school, and it was the middle of a terrible blizzard, and we were in this old van, and the van we're coming over this hill and started coming down. We started sliding right into the other lane, and bam, we hit this other car. Mm-hmm. This is before they had seatbelt regulations and all that, and I flew from the back of the van all the way up and hit my lip, and I had this giant fat lip. Mom, I couldn't wake her up. It was really, really, it was just a white-out blizzard, freezing cold. I remember people running down through the blizzard from these houses that had seen it. And I was hard on Ashlee too. I have a lot of regret about that.
Why?
Older brother stuff. I was just always, teasing her and, whatever. In this case, she had a compound fractured leg, and she had her snow pants on, and I couldn't see that the bone was actually sticking out of her leg. And she was like, I can't stand on my legs. Like, quit your complaining. Mom, I can't wake Mom up. Quit your... And I find out later that she, like, literally, her bone was sticking out of her leg. My mom she hurt her neck pretty bad, and they were both in the hospital for a long time. So that was kind of the beginning of the rough patch that we all went through. And, you know, everybody's good now, thankfully.
Yep.
Everybody's still with us, thankfully.
After they got divorced, you mentioned the struggles. You know, I think your dad slept in his car for a while, had an apartment above a liquor store. Yeah. At another point, you guys were bouncing around house to house on the other side of the tracks. How visible was that struggle to you as a kid back then? You
know what? You never made it feel like he was in a bad place, but at certain points, like, why are all Dad's clothes in the back of his car and hanging on a rack? And then it just kind of dawned on me that, oh my God, he's living in this thing. But my dad is tough, man. He's really tough. He always was there for us when he could be. He was he lived above the grog shop, the liquor store. We didn't care. We were just as happy, just to go over there and rent a VCR and watch movies from Blockbuster or wherever it was.
Your friend Greg, when I was talking to him the other day on the phone, got choked up recalling the moments when your dad would leave and how emotionally impactful he remembered that being for you guys.
He didn't get to see us as much as he wanted to, and it was difficult for him, but we didn't know any differently. When you're in it, you don't understand the struggle until you're, much older. When you don't have things, you don't know what you're missing, and for us, it was just whatever. I'm thinking about all this stuff now, and I get a little bit, stirred up by it, but.
And that was my question. Like, it seems like while it must have obviously been tough times, I mean, that's the period that made you into the man you are now. What is it, thinking back on that affects you?
I don't look back at my childhood and think that, oh, we were poor us, we didn't have this, because we had enough we were fine. But for me, yes, you're probably right. That is, like, I really appreciate things that I have now because of that. And I think that, for my son, doesn't have to struggle like that. But how do you instill those same things in your own kids once you've been able to be successful? Can you instill those same sort of work ethics? You can't manufacture struggle, You have to somehow find a way around it and still instill these same sort of values or work ethics without having to go through that struggle. And that's one of the hardest things as a parent, is still teaching him, because we just had to do it. We just had to go do it.